Hi everyone, I told you guys on my last video that I would do a video on breeders. Now I'm not talking so much about the birds themselves, but the people who actually breed them. You can get birds two different ways. If you buy them from a pet store, they can be coming from a local breeder. And very rarely you'll find birds that have been imported from their land of origin. I would definitely go with a bird that has been bred locally, or at least a captive bred bird, um, especially if they're hand fed, because they're a lot friendlier. You know that they haven't been jostled around in tiny little cages and mistreated and not fed, and it's terrible. You have to look these things up before you go to this pet stores and figure out that you've got a captive bred bird or not a captive bred bird. They're not cool. The ones that have come from the wild they're very mistreated, so definitely look into that. So, anyway, breeders. I've dealt with really, really good breeders and really, really crappy ones. So I'll start with the crappy ones. It's always best to do the crappy things first. So, crappy breeders, they're pretty easy to pick out. A lot of the times they'll be very friendly on the phone, but you have to really pay attention when you meet them. What they are trying to get you to buy. No good breeder will ever not let you see their breeding room, how they treat the birds, the babies, pictures of the babies. One breeder in particular that I know refuses to show pictures of his breeders, refuses to show pictures of the cages, refuses to show pictures of the baby birds themselves. It took months for me to get pictures of just the baby birds. He would send me pictures that he found online, pictures from other people, but never pictures that he took himself. I didn't end up buying any birds from this man because I did not like anything that he was doing. If your breeder is telling you that you're going to get a package deal with your bird, like a cage and all the toys and the food and etc., make sure you ask them exactly what you're getting. Ask for the cage, ask for the dimensions, ask for the toys. If a bad breeder won't do this for you, they'll just say, "Oh, it's a good enough cage." Never, ever, ever go with just a good enough cage. Ask them how big it is, because your word over theirs. If you go to this place and they tell you, "Yeah, we're going to give you an 18 by 18 inch square cage for your cockatiel," and you get there and it turns out to be this big, you can turn back to them and say, "No, no, no, you told me 18 by 18. I've seen it before where a certain person went to go pick up a cage and bird from a specific breeder, and she got there and the bird was given to her in a round cage. And being new to birds, she figured, okay, this is fine. If the breeder says this is okay, then it must be. And 3 days later, after doing all this research, because she just couldn't stand looking at this bird anymore in this tiny little cage, she called another breeder, and the second breeder set her up with the appropriate cage, the appropriate toys, and the appropriate things that she needed for this poor bird. After that, the bird was just thrilled. Bad breeders a lot of the times will give you the cheap deal. I've heard this so many times. Don't do it. Please, please, please. Don't do it. Cheaper bird doesn't mean better bird at all. Go and see the bird yourself. Really, really, go and see it. If the breeder won't let you go over to your house, go over to the house to see them, don't buy the bird. Do not. Any breeder will tell you, come in whenever you like. This is where I live. This is where my facility is. They might tell you, don't come between this time and this time because we're hand feeding, or we might be busy at this time. It'd be better if you came at this time. But there shouldn't be any question. When you do get there, you should be able to see the parents. You should be able to see where the birds are kept. You should be able to play with any birds that they may have up for adoption at the time. You should not smell any funky smells going on. You should not see bald birds. You should not see cages that are too small. Like, you should be able to look at a cage and tell whether or not it's too small. Remember the hokey pokey rule. Especially with breeders who are wild most of the time. Could you imagine wild birds who never get to be out of their cages in a cage that's tiny? Like, use your head. If a cockatiel should be in a cage no less than 18 by 18 inches square. If you find a breeding pair of cockatiels in a cage that size, there's something wrong. Because those birds will probably never come out of their cages. And they're in tiny little cages, like this big. That's not very big at all. Those poor birds are never going to be able to see anything but the inside of their cages, and they're tiny. So, keep those things in mind. Good breeders, on the other hand, will jump at the chance to send you pictures. They should be flaunting pictures at you. Look at my cages. Look how big they are. Look how many toys I have for them. Look how much time I spent with them. My little green buddy Kia, I bought from an amazing breeder. I love this breeder. And she emailed me baby pictures. She emailed me things that she found the baby birds loved. She emailed me several times to tell me how he was doing and what his band number was, so I would know and I'd be able to keep record. She even kept the bird for me for an extra 2 weeks because I was away and could not go pick him up. When I did pick him up, she was very happy to see me. I stayed at the house for about an hour getting to know Kia and getting to know her other birds. Again, she had new ones. I had to go check them out. And I still, to this day, talk to her and deal with her. She sells cages and toys. And I think she's just brilliant. So if you don't fall completely and absolutely head over heels for your breeder, don't do it. You should be completely impressed. If you're not impressed, if you don't have that wow factor, then they're probably not what you're looking for, and you're going to be really disappointed. Even if you think, oh, well, I'll go and I'll buy the bird just to save the bird, don't do it. You're supporting them. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. You're going over to them and buying their stuff. If you don't like what you see, call the SPCA. A lot of the times, if there is no SPCA in an area, you can call the police department, and they will send you in the right direction. Because that's when you're going to make a difference. You're not going to make a difference. You're not going to shut these people down by saying, hey, I'll just, buy the bird from him to get the bird out of the situation. No. You're supporting him. You're supporting that breeder, him or her. So keep those things in mind, especially if you've never bought a bird before. Maybe talk to somebody who has, bring a friend who has, ask about their background, ask about how long they've been, if they're registered with any company. The Canadian one is called the AACC. Ask if their birds are banded, ask if they have any references, ask for their avian vet. Ask every question you can think of. Everything. See everything, talk about everything, go over everything you think is relevant. So please keep these things in mind. Do a lot of research on your birds so you know what you're talking about when you go there. And I hope you have fun going to your breeders, because I always have fun. So I hope you guys learned something. Learning is fun. You just don't know it yet. So I'll talk to everybody soon.